What's going on, everybody? Lawler here over on twitch.tv/Lawler. Makes sense, right? We've been talking about this throughout the week, and we finally got it all situated. We have a tier list for you all for the NA rosters. We're going to do this in two different ways. Number one, not only are we going to break down where we think these rosters are going to place with a way too soon prediction, we have not seen any results yet. We're doing this before the open qualifier. We're also going to discuss the roster change that happened alongside it. So I will talk about the team, what they were, where they are now, and then I will tell you how I think they're going to play. The way we're going to do this, if we go to the other screen, first and foremost, something that Gibbs ended up putting out that I think is pretty cool, if you guys haven't seen. On the left-hand side here, I don't know if you guys can see it easily, but this is actually the breakdown of all the teams signed up. The reason why they are going to more payment structures the way that they are, the way that they're changing those types of things, is for literally this reason. The amount of teams that are playing, the amount of teams that are signed up, this is what the purpose of them taking away from the top side, the heavily weighted top side, and breaking it down to the low side. Like even in NA alone, we saw a 77% increase in teams signed up, 506 to 896. With that in mind, let's talk about how we're going to rank these teams based upon the placement in the tournament, where I think you have the ability to kind of go up or down one. So if I put you in like top 8, very likely you could find yourself in top 4 consistently. Very likely you'll find yourself in the 2-3 situation and just barely make it out of the playoffs. Okay, if you guys need a quick reminder for the format, there is 3 stages. It is double elimination. We find out the top 16. The top 16 then play in Swiss, and then we get our top 8. So if I put you in one of these, that doesn't mean you're not quality enough to make top 16. It just means that very likely I will see you at the 1-3 or 0-3 stage more often than not, in my opinion. Okay, and by all means, for any teams, any players that are watching, please prove me wrong. I would love to see a team that I rate super low come in and smack some people and make the major. That's awesome. That's what I think this format actually provides. I expect a ton of upsets with double elimination. We are going to, and I even tweeted out, who's going to be the Team Iris Award of this season? What is a team that is highly projected that gets upset and then drops out early in double elimination? We'll see what happens, okay? It can't be the Muffin Men again. If it's the Muffin Men again, I'm going to lose it, chat. That doesn't really give it an award. That just means that team is tainted when it comes to the name. Either way, with that said, we're going to go through these teams, no particular order, and do what we can. Again, I'm going to update my RLCS thing on the side as well as we go through these, just because as teams become more prevalent and qualify more over the weeks, we'll have the teams to pay attention to. We'll rank them, all that kind of stuff. It'll be great. All right, so we're going to start at the bottom, work our way up. Up first, we got Vibrance. Vibrance, obviously, Astro, Fifi, and Cosmic. Cosmic used to be a sub for Koi. Fifi was with a crew, and then Astro was with 021. Vibrance has actually shown some promise here and there, but my concerns are they going to be able to do it consistently? The only real form of information that we're getting is these Bandits on Wheels in the draw tournaments. And because of that, we've only got 4-ish invited teams of RLCS capability, and we have yet to see Vibrance really make it to the main stage and pass through. Because of that, I do think, yes, top 16 quality, the ability to go and compete and do some things. But are they going to consistently be there? I would assume so. I think Vibrance has some moments. I think they're more in the cusp. Like if I have Vibrance as a top seed, I'm probably happy about the turnout, but it's not a team you should take lightly by any means. I think this is a team that without a doubt will be competitive as long as they continue to grind and don't get complacent and all that kind of stuff. But they're kind of more on the 17 to 24. Like I expect them to be in a top 32 match against a really high seed, have a really tough match, drop to lowers, and then they're either going to get knocked out at that round in like the 17 to 24 area, or they're going to promote in. It's going to be really tough, but expect Vibrance to always be in that like pivotal spot every single time. Up next, we've got Plot Twist. Plot Twist is kind of a weird situation because of what happened recently. Expert was always paired with Money. They are no longer together. We also have Sosa, who was with the Treehouse roster, the young kid with Scribbles and Reveal. Ended up leaving due to internal conflict. Found a new team. He used to be on Koi. And then we've got Kofer, who new talent that people have been talking about during the offseason. Plot Twist recently revived. I think they've got a lot of potential, but if I'm being completely honest, they got to prove it to me first. Capable 100% of making top 16, but I don't have enough results to justify doing it. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they are going to be in that kind of conversation. I would not be surprised if you see these two swapping or being one that qualifies and the other one gets booted out. But I don't have enough RLCS experience that I have seen. Also, I have no idea what the dynamic between Sosa and Expert are going to look like. I have no idea. I think the talent is there and the potential is there, but I would more likely go with Vibrance right now because it's solidified. There's something to build off of. But I do think skill ceiling wise, potential here. Potential for sure. Okay. Up next, Deleted XD. This is with Adam, Knight, and Oath, which has been a pretty fun surprise. They actually just had some really big results. They ended up reverse sweeping Shopify Rebellion recently, which was cool to see. Deleted to me is an anomaly. This is like previous nefarious roster, Accrue, Koi, G League, quintessential bubble has been their bread and butter, and I'm going to continue to put them there. They have the capability of playing upset, but what are they going to look like when they play the Gen Gs, the G2s, the Space Stations, the Digs, Shopify's consistently? Are those reps going to be beneficial for them? Yes, but are they going to be able to get consistent wins over them? As of right now, I think it'll be competitive, but when push comes to shove, I have a hard time saying it's going to happen. I think they have the ability to, if they play well on the day, they could make a top 8, but I see them more likely saying, hey, we're going to be a team that's either 2-3, 1-3 more consistently than not. Swiss is brutal. It is heavily weighted towards the top end. The first split is so important. Like, your first regional is so important for seeding to give you an advantage in the bracket moving forward. People don't realize, like, when you go through the upper qualifiers and end up being a team that is heavily weighted and you get a top 8 seed, it is worlds of difference for the matchups that you play. So I don't see Deleted doing that. I see Deleted getting into like a top 32 round, losing to a team like a Dignitas or something, dropping down to lowers, and then having to battle through the lower bracket. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough. Up next, Incorrect Esports. Angel Flit's tool has shown promise. This is the former 0-2-1 roster. Flitz obviously had a little bit of a stint with Gaming Gladiators with OSM in them over in APAC. Ended up coming back. This team has promise, but I can't confidently see them in top 8 as of right now. This is supposed to be Incorrect. You guys' logo is the whole name right now for some reason. But I think right now for Incorrect, I like the team. The team has potential, but I just don't see them going up against a close match. I just don't see it. I have really big problems with the way they play at times. There is a telltale sign from bubble teams to like the consistent top 8s, and it's a possession control game. And for some reason, still a lot of teams, people clear the ball way too hard. Like they throw possession, they don't actually force challenges. Like, there is this panic boom ball hit thing that happens a lot in that bubble area, and Incorrect right now is actually notorious for it from what I've seen. The things they can definitely clean up, they have the talent for sure, but are they going to do it when it matters most, when pressure's on the line? Most people will fall back to bad tendencies, and it'll create issues. Incorrect, though, I think has shown promise, but I expect them to be a 1-3-2-3 team again. Like, I think they'll make top 16 for sure, but you might see like a plot twist go up against them, and all of a sudden that upset happens, and that's when plot twist comes in. Incorrect falls out. It's possible, without a doubt. After that, we've got Omelette. Omelette I've actually really enjoyed watching, even though it has changed yet again. Omelette to me is weird because I liked what they were doing, and then it changed last second because of the whole debacle that went down. Percy and Trey sticking together yet again. Nothing new there. I think Zanil has been heavily underrated. I don't know why Zanil continues to get the short end of the stick. I think his scrim results have been really fucking good. Apologies for the profanity, but like, Lion Blaze is consistent. My only concern is I hope Lion Blaze understands that he can be that guy. He doesn't have to play passive. He doesn't have to play defense all the time. It should be a 3-cycled rotation. You've got Percy supporting you. You're fine. Move up and play offense, please, for this team. If this team just sits on defense the whole time, I'm going to lose it. I think this team has a ton of potential, but we haven't seen any of it yet. They should be a consistent top 16. I think this is an organization, like a C-tier org, could come in and pick these guys up for a decent price, give them a home, and build some fans. But Omelette, I have yet to see them pushing into top 8 qualities yet. Can they play upset, though? 100%. They're fully capable of it. Zanil, Percy, Lion Blaze on a team is fully capable of playing upset. This team was former M80. Percy and Trey were also on the boys during the offseason with Dries before Dries retired and now became a sub of NRG. We'll get to that. And then Sukaparktik as well was what 2/3 of it was. But kind of a reunited team that I'm excited to watch. I think Omelette has a lot of upside. I really do. I could see them top 8 here and there. And we may adjust these as we fill these out. Okay. Next, we've got the Snowmen. Snowmen right now, a lot of talent. A lot of losses they shouldn't be having. I think there is some massive refinement that needs to happen with this team. As of right now, they're going to be a gatekeeper team. Good potential to play in, but my concerns. Number one, not enough experience. Young kids under pressure. They do have like a mental coach, I think. What kind of mental coach qualifications, I don't know. But I've seen a lot of really bad problems. I think they play simple, which is recreatable, but they're not doing anything to me that overwhelms. They're not doing anything that is field possession control. They're not overwhelming pressure. They're not doing any one thing that I'm like, wow, that really stands out to me. Now, Frosty's a unique circumstance. The rumors are that an ego was part of the issue, and that's why he was let go. I think Reveal, personally, is one of the top 5 players people need to watch out for in this league. I think Reveal is incredible. I think he has all of the game IQ, game sense that you need. I think his similarities are to like an Atau, a Mist, back when Mist was playing a lot of midfield pressure type play. Reveal is really good. My only concern with Reveal is that there's going to be times where teams that are heavily aggressive. I think about EU teams like the K-Corps, the Vitalities, that if he plays the way he does now, he will be beaten to every single ball and he will be overwhelmed because they will not mess up. There's going to be a certain point where he needs to use his mentality and transition it into how Monkey Moon plays, and his positioning is there as one step ahead to shut plays down rather than understanding, hey, I don't need to challenge. Hey, I don't need to go for this. Hey, they're going to throw us possession. That may work in this mid tier, but as you get to the top dogs, that is you just giving them the ball for free and you will be punished for it. But I think as a foundation, Reveal is incredible. He has everything I want in a player to build something around. I think Reveal is so stellar of a player with things you cannot teach. The only one we haven't talked about is Scribbles. He's 14. He's got a lot to learn. Talent is there, but it is going to take time to develop. And my biggest concern with this roster, there is no veteran on this team to show them the ropes. There is no one to hold their hand and be like, this is the way things go. This is something to understand. This is the way things happen. This is what to expect. They are going in blind, and it is going to be a problem. Maybe in the second split, you see some positivity happening, but as of right now, I can't feel confident in it. No matter how much talent is on that roster, you need someone to hold their hand. You need a professional coach, a high-level coach. They had one that was helping, but they didn't lock it in full time, so that's no longer being. But this is definitely a like draft and develop type team. Split 2, this is where I really put some weight, some what's the word I want? Some stock in this team. Split 2, Snowmen, pay attention to it. But Reveal, in my opinion, a team to definitely a player to watch out for. And the other ones aren't bad by any means, but I have no idea how this team's going to play out. Mental coach is a good idea, but I don't know if it's going to be the answer. Up next, we got Claverity, J-Pal, T-Krell, and Ajax. All 3 familiar names. Ajax was on SUP. T-Krell was on a crew. And J-Pal was that final piece of that nefarious roster. I don't know, man. Claverity's been back and forth. To me, this is like your quintessential bubble team. You've got some older names that, you know, haven't really ever been able to punch in with like a top tier roster or organization, but they're competitive and they're able to still earn a little bit. Prize pool, I think, for top 16 now is 1,200 instead of 1,000. So you're talking, you know, 400 per person. That's $1,200 per player for a split. Not terrible money. They've got an organization backing them, some change. So yeah, I think the biggest thing with Claverity is they signed Oath for 2 days and then let him go. Not exactly sure what the reasoning was or what happened. Yeah, I think they're your quintessential top 16. You know, there'll be a team that, you know, one of these teams may play each other, and that leg up is probably never going to happen because the seeding. But you have to get that one upset game. Like, one of these teams is going to have to beat like a Gen G, a G2 or whatever consistently to get past. But Clarity to me is definitely in between here. They have moments where they look consistent and they don't make mistakes. Then there's other times where they just get overwhelmed. So I think you could put them in between both of these. We might make an adjustment there. Next, we got Pirates on a Boat. I personally am super biased for this team. This team has gone through a bunch of iterations because of the offseason shenanigans that happened with NRG. Andy used to have teammates by the name of Toasty and others, and they keep getting plucked away. So Andy keeps getting in the short end of the stick. Andy used to play for Dignitas. We've got 5UP, who's a newcomer who's shown a lot of promise. And I like the fact that Andy is going to maybe be able to do some of that hand holding for him. On the other side of it is Aris. Aris is the latest addition. What ended up happening with Aris, which is pretty crazy, primarily he had a bunch of tryouts during this offseason and tried for Energy, Space Station, a bunch, and it looked like he was going to be solidified with Dignitas. Last second, they ended up not going with him. Could have been a similar Frosty situation. We don't know. But the one reason I really like this is because Achieves, former RLCS caster Achieves, is going to be their coach. And we love Achieves. We're going to support him as much as we can. So this team has a lot to prove. I think talent-wise, it's very unrefined. But I have personally played with Andy, and that boy has solo carried me with triple hat tricks all day long. Andy, I think, is still underrated and doesn't get the love and attention he deserves. On top of that as well, I think that there is a rawness of talent here that could be refined. I think as long as they believe in what Achieves is selling, they've got some potential. So we're going to put Pirates on a Boat as a top 16 as well. I do agree. Someone in chat says that we missed out on Boulevard. I don't know why I don't have Boulevard in here. It's probably because they like stopped playing. Boulevard is Repeat, Delta, and Alraz. I don't know why I don't have them in here. If I was to put Boulevard in here, they're like a 17, 16. I'd probably put them in the 17 group right now in a Gatekeeper. They have some promise, but we haven't quite seen it. But I'd probably put them here for now. They've been struggling. You could maybe put them similar regards to like Clarity. Up next, who do we got? Hey Bro, the hot commodity of the offseason. Now, Hey Bro doesn't show up here. All the rumors point to TSM, so we're just going to say it's TSM for simplicity's sake. This team has promise. I was talking to Creams yesterday, and the conversation, if you guys don't know this team, Hockey used to play with him and Creams. They were the same 2/3, and they brought in Wavy. Wavy didn't get any tryouts. He's been this really good 1v1 player, did some good stuff in Salt Mine, and has been performing well. Hey Bro got picked up early from what it sounds like with an organization, and then they got a little complacent, it felt like. I don't know what happened, but they had a really bad downtrend. But then they also show. The thing that I like about this TSM roster, or Hey Bro, is they have proven they can go toe-to-toe. I think their defense is incredible. I think they've got a really solid defense, and their offense has some creativity to it. Sometimes it does look a little stale, though. But when they're on, they can go toe-to-toe with most teams. I think they are going to continue to struggle against the G2s, the Gen Gs, the really top-tier echelon. But I think they're going to be our first top 8. I will say it's a letdown if this team doesn't make top 8. Based upon what they've been performing like, I think Creams is one of the most improved players. Hockey still doesn't get enough love ever since he was with like Birds and the Bees or whatever the team was back then. Hockey is known for like being incredible to team with, to build up and do some things. But like, they just don't give him credit. I don't know what it is. Hockey is such a good teammate. So I think Creams has proven that he can be that guy. I've seen him hit double flip reset, infield passes, and crazy stuff. Wavy, I think, has potential as he gets more confidence, but this should be a top 8 team. They could definitely dip into the top 16 and fall out, but expect this team to be 2-3. I think Swiss benefits them greatly. I would hope, and I would like to assume that they will be in the 2-2 round all the time, and maybe a 3-1 if they get that upset win, but team that should be given some love for sure. Up next, Luminosity. I've got some weird feelings about Luminosity. I've seen some really good foundational things, and then I've seen some times where they look abysmal. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just one of their players having an off day. But they're going to be top 8. Luminosity would be very weird to see outside of the top 8. I think they've proven that they have a recreatable play style. And then if you let the bear eat, as it has been stated numerous times, top 8 potential. They have a star player. I think Cheese was a great addition if you guys don't know. Reddles, Magic Bear, and their coach Greg are coming over from Optic. They took Cheese from Koi, which used to be Rogue. Cheese, I think, is a great pickup. I think Cheese has been underrated. I think it's got a lot of potential. So this is a team that has potential to make top 4 if they get the favorable matchup, but I don't like in a best of 7 against like a Shopify Rebellion. Buckle up, enjoy the series. It should be fun. So I do like Luminosity's chances to consistently make top 4, but I think they're going to be on that covet. Like they're going to be a team that is fighting for a top 4 spot. Expect them in the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 range, if I had to guess. Up next, the Muffin Men, Squishy Muffins and the boys. I really don't know how to place them. We have only seen a curated result from Squishy on his YouTube channel, showcasing them against Vitality, where they did okay. Some good moments, some bad moments. I do agree with Squishy's statements and sentiments that Aqua is underrated and deserves a bit more love. I would like to see this team on CJ's stream performing more consistently. But are they putting in the hours? Are they grinding? Are they scrimming? I don't know what the work ethic like for this team. For now, I'm going to put them here. Talent-wise, Squishy's been getting a lot of hate and he doesn't deserve it. Squishy did a lot of really good things for NRG. You know what? I'm going to put them here. I actually like this better and we're going to bump you down. There's just too much talent on the team. Do I think they're going to make top 16 every time? I don't know. But I do think they have enough talent to consistently place in Swiss. You can only take scrims to showcase fundamentals and like the basics. You can't have that be the weight. I've seen teams go perfect in scrims and then get smacked first game at LAN. It does not matter. I think Muffin Men is going to be on the tail end of that. I will see them probably for qualification matches and they're either making it in or they're not. That's my opinion. But are they going to make playoffs? Probably not. M80 is weird, dude. M80 is Nick throwing stuff at a wall. He's got, you guys know the Always Sunny in Philadelphia where what's his face has the like red yarn all over the place and he looks like a crazy person. That's Nick. That's Nick right now. M80's got so much talent, but there's so many overseen problems that I already have, and I think there's too much of the same. I don't know how to put my finger on this team. I really don't. To me, M80 could be one of the best teams because there's so much talent. You guys aren't aware of what this team is. It's AJ coming over from Optic. You've got Joria's coming over from Oxygen. He is, to my knowledge, going to be actually living locally with them, I think in like Texas or something. I don't know where M80 is based. But Joria's is going to be living in NA. And then you've got Nas, who very talented player, who is young. He's going to be 17 when the season starts. He's going to have to find a way to either play with really high ping or travel a bunch because they don't have an off week. You play qualifiers one day, you play Swiss the next day. So you always have something going on for the weeks. There's no downtime. Boy's going to be traveling and jet lagged out of his mind. I don't know how they're going to do this. I don't know how they're coordinating things. And yes, it may only be for one split, but we're only looking at one split. I have some very big concerns for this team. Talent-wise, though, the answer's there. Like, they've got all the talent they could ever want. Will the play styles work out? Consider me a doubter for now. I have them top 8 at best. I could see them making a quarterfinal and then getting bodied against a team that has a better foundation, and by all means, this is just me because I don't know enough about them. I haven't seen them. We haven't seen them play in off-season tournaments outside of one time. M80 is also Boston like Oxygen. That's dope. That's cool. I would love to see show matches between M80 and Oxygen. Holiday Invitational, did M80 play? They did. How did M80 do? M80 lost to Oxygen, who won the whole thing, and then they beat Parktic, and then they lost. Yeah, I'm not believing it. Yeah, I'm going to put them top 8. We'll see how they do. I want to be proven wrong. I want this team to be successful. I like the guys on this team a lot. I think structurally, they've got something they need to prove to me. They got to prove to me more than anything. This, to me, is an organization that is spending so much money for a maybe. And if it works, they'll be geniuses. If it works, it's going to be awesome. But we'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. I'm very interested to watch this team. It's probably one of the most intriguing rosters that we've seen in the offseason. Up next, we got Dignitas. Probably one of my favorite teams, actually, this offseason. Dignitas has gone through a lot of changes. They are rebuilding around Evo. The rest of the team is no longer. Drees is gone. Evo's the only one remaining. This team ended up making a major last year somehow, and surprised a lot of people there. They've got a new coach that has been with them now for a little bit. The Violent Panda, the world champ, 2-time. They've got Arsenal coming over. So Evo Arsenal, I think, is a great duo pairing. Arsenal obviously coming over from Space Station. And then they've got Gyro. Gyro, former Koi, played with a team called the Boys a little bit during the offseason. I really like this team. This team has been really solid during the offseason. I think they're hitting honeymoon, and they are clicking when it matters most. This is a team I would hate to be playing in top 8. I would really not like to play this team in top 8 because I think they can surprise some people. To me, this is an upset team. This is also a team I could say, you know what? They let a couple matches slip away, and then all of a sudden they end up falling down, and they're in a 2-2 series, and they have a tough matchup that doesn't favor them. To me, I could see like M80 and Dignitas both trying to fight for a top 8. To me, I would love to watch these teams just pair up against each other all the time. I think it'd be awesome. I think Dignitas got a lot of potential. I really like that Evo Arsenal duo. I think it's really, really solid. I can't think about the right now, though. A lot of people have recency bias. Dignitas is back-to-back and Bandits on wheels. Does not matter. You are missing so many top-tier teams from that tournament. Next is one that I have a hard time ranking, actually, which is OG. If you guys don't know OG, this is Nolly coming over from Gen G. You've got Com from V1, and you've got JNabs from G2. Torment, former version 1, is now their coach. They were Torment's minions during the offseason. They have proven that they have potential. My concern is their offensive creativity has been lacking. Their defense is stellar. Their offense can sustain pressure, but sometimes it is just very, very, what's the word I want? Starts with a T. Telegraphed. Their offense is very telegraphed. Very easily understood. It's very predictable. You know exactly what you're getting. And while it's consistent and it applies pressure, there is times where it's just like, hey, man, you should throw that infield instead. Hey, man, you should probably take that solo. You should do it a little bit different. Like corner in, corner in, corner in every time. Sometimes off the backboard. And it's got a lot of potential. I'd probably put them as a top 8 as well. I like the potential of this team. I think they have a really good chance to grow as long as it is taken seriously. We also don't know what Torment is like as a coach. I think Torment's got a lot to prove here. Like the team. Selfishly wanted to manage the team. Things don't always work out. Happens. But I think this is going to be a lot of people's favorite team in the from the off season. I think you got 3 likable people for the most part. Their coach is fantastic. We love Torment. Former world champ experience. They've got the means to be successful, but it's kind of the old guard. They're proving that, you know what, as long as you understand positional play, as long as you understand the way you should approach the game, mechanics haven't really increased in a long period of time. Like ideology, like they have what you need to be successful, which is a team-based environment. We've seen it numerous times during the offseason where even though they lose matches they should not, there is games that they go into where they look bad, and then the wake-up call, they lock in and they grow. So I could see them definitely being in quarterfinals pretty frequently. We'll see how it goes, though. A lot of these teams, you guys got to understand, though, the 2-2 rounds, like, I think when you look at this tier list so far, look at the teams and think about where they are in Swiss. 2-2 trying to play for a 3-2 to go to top 8. Makes sense. They're going to be on that. They could also win a quarterfinal and move forward. So, kind of the way you're looking at this range. Up next, Shopify Rebellion, I think. They've been a little bit inconsistent for me, but I know the potential of this team. I really like this roster. I think this team with Justin has the makings to be very successful. While they haven't been consistent enough for me, I think potential-wise, I expect them to play a certain play style, and Swiss very much so benefits them. This roster in particular, play style wise, has the makings of a perfect setup. You've got 2 players playing aggressively in the midfield that are set up, denying boost, applying pressure, a lot of demos, which if they can translate that to RLCS when people play a little bit safer, is going to open up a lot of really good things. And then you've got a third man that's a little bit far back, and things could be great. I really like Shopify's play style and what they're approaching. I think talent-wise, between two-piece Justin and Parth, who does not get enough credit for his setup play, Shopify, I think, has a lot of really good things that they could be doing. If you guys are unfamiliar with the roster, two-piece, Parth, and Memory used to be the roster. Memory is now going into coaching, and they're bringing in Justin from NRG. Up next, we've got Space Station Gaming, which I think is kind of a lateral move. I think them getting rid of Arsenal, bringing in Chicago doesn't really change much. Personally, I see kind of more of the same. I think LJ and Hawks are great. Chicago has always been a kind of intangible player that I like. His communication, the way he holds people accountable, level-headed on the field is good. His accuracy has already proven to be problematic at times. And as long as that consistency gets increased into the positive direction, yeah, I don't see why Space Station can't be competitive. To me, they've been underperforming versus some others. Like I feel more keen about Luminosity and Dignitas over Space Station right now, but I would like to see some things change outside of that. I don't know, man. I don't think they have the peak potential that they once had with Arsenal, because we've seen what Arsenal can do when he's on. But I do think they're going to be heavily competitive. I think it really depends on what kind of matchup they get. Very, very interested to see how this one plays out. Again, chat, we're just doing initial. We'll end up adjusting these as we go through. Like, I think if Space Station gets a tough matchup in 2-2, I see them more likely to lose it than an OG, hey bro, you name it. We'll see how it changes. Chat, I think these are too easy. These are our top two. They've been top two the whole offseason. Genji Mobile One Racing Bowl. We haven't seen it all. They have definitely been leaning into the honeymoon. We want to make sure we come in refined, refreshed, talk to Jack. He's loved the offseason. They've basically figured out what they wanted to do 2 weeks into the offseason, got it secured, and have been chilling. Mental reset, going to play a big deal late game. If you guys don't know, Genji, as we talked about, let go of a player by the name of Nolly. They brought in First Killer from FaZe. FaZe no longer exists. We haven't heard anything about Sypical probably retiring. We haven't heard anything. The organization, there was rumors they were going to pick up like Squishy Muffin's team with the Muffin Men. We don't know. But yeah, we haven't heard anything from Sypical. Mist is gone. We'll talk about them next. And First Killer dipped. Got out of contract. No buyout. Happy to go to Genji. Genji's happy. So to me, on paper, this is the best team. Genji, I think, again, my concern was about who's going to fulfill that selfish role, who's going to fulfill the selfless role. And you're starting to see what it looks like. Jack is going to take a step back from the offense and play setup man and allow First Killer and Chronic to do what Chronic does best. Also, shout out to Chronic. We found out recently he's a Packers fan. We love Chronic. I don't know. I think Genji has a lot of potential. On paper, they look really, really good. In scrims, I've heard they've been doing pretty dang solid. But Genji, I think, is most people's top team. As long as they stay grinded, motivated, and level-headed, they're going to be a team to reckon with. On the other side, we talk about G2 Esports. A lot of people have been saying G2 hasn't really looked that great, this and that. I hate to break it to you guys. I've got a little bit more insight from internal conversations than you guys do about G2. And I hate to break it to you, but if this team fails, say goodbye to Sathu as a coach. There is no excuse for this team to fail. It's too much talent. When your worst player, as people are saying, is Atomic, which I don't agree with that. I think Atomic's incredible. You've got Atomic, Beast Mode, and Daniel. Beast Mode and Daniel are coming over from V1. Atomic staying the same. G2 has no excuse but to win. If they are not consistent, quarterfinal, semifinal at worst, something is going wrong. G2 has every reason to be a top tier team. And by all means, I know people are looking at the offseason. Hey, they've underperformed here, there, and that. I don't care. I'm going with my gut. I'm going with what I know about this team and the potential that they have. There is no excuse for G2 to not be in this conversation. G2 has everything they need to be successful. I'm sure they're working on a playstyle. I'm sure they're working on specific things to make sure that this is set up and they can do what they need to. With that in mind, out of these teams, the easy answer is to go like this and say, hey, Dignitas has been playing well. But out of all these teams, I think it's really difficult right now to see who's going to punch each other in. I know math-wise, like, hey, it doesn't work out. We should probably put one more team in here. And we'll try to make a judgment call about which team that is going to be, and we'll talk about that. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about NRG. NRG has been this team that's been pretty crazy during the offseason. It's been weird. They brought in Fireburner as a coach. V1 completely disbanded and stuff. Fireburner's their new coach. They brought Mist over from FaZe Clan. And then what was supposed to be Frosty, who is now on the Snowmen team. They brought in Frosty. They signed him. And then a little bit less than a month later, they release him last second. And then, as you guys saw in my previous video, they signed up with Toasty. Toasty was on the Pirates on a Boat team. He used to play for Team Axel back in the day. But they brought in Toasty instead. So they went from cold to hot is the joke that everybody is making. Moses' younger brother. They had some opportunities. I've heard they tried out Percy. They tried out Toasty. They tried out Zanil. They decided to go with Toasty. I don't know if it's due to a familiarity thing because they're boys or what's going on. But NRG, to me, Garrett has been doing this for a long time for a reason. I don't think that's any mistake. Mist, when he puts in hours, is still a top 10 player in NA. If Mist puts in hours, he is still that good. He really is. And I've seen Toasty dismantle teams in the bubble. I've seen Toasty in a top 16 match 1v3 some kids. I think Toasty's definitely underrated. I think he's got some talent. Is this going to be the right collection of players? I don't know. I really don't know. My gut says, hey, they're a top 8 potential. More likely going to be in these areas. But like that team definitely has some moments. And the great thing about it is we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen what they look like with Toasty. We haven't seen them put their best foot forward. We don't know. My curiosity out of all of these then to kind of finalize this list is, do we want to make some last minute adjustments? And I say, obviously we have to. We have to put a team in top 4. I want to see what happens to M80 before I feel confidently. But do I think they can definitely bump in? Yes. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with LG. Now, as a reiteration for you all, these teams based upon the list can go down a tier and up a tier. Okay. I think we can all agree, and even if you guys don't agree, I don't care. If Gen G and G2 are not consistency top 4 semifinals, that's a failure. Without a doubt. Absolute failure. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of expectation, but there is no excuse for those teams with that much talent to not be a top 4 consistent. Shopify and Luminosity, you can see Shopify be competitive and do their thing. They might end up top 8, and then all of a sudden they lose the quarterfinal. Same thing with LG. You might see them switch back and forth. I think you're going to see the same thing with all of these teams where you could see them not making the 3-2 match. They go 2-2 instead, and they end up falling down into top 16. But you could see these swap one way or the other. Same thing with Muffin Men. You could see Muffin Men be in a 2-2 series in Swiss, and they win, and all of a sudden they move up, and energy moves down. There is a hierarchy in that. It can go either way. But I'm very interested to see on how things play out. M80 is my anomaly. I have no idea what to expect out of M80. I've seen that they have potential. They've got a lot of talent. I like some of the things that they're doing, but we've only seen them once. I've only seen them once. I don't know what to expect. So, very interested to see how these go. Obviously, people have their biases. People are more than happy to believe in what they want to believe, but that's why I encourage you all. Go make your own tier list. Go make your own tier list. Put it on the internet. Let people judge it. Post it on the subreddit. Whatever you guys want to do. At the end of the day, we're just doing these for fun. This is going to be a big upset. If you guys don't remember RLCS Season 1, we're going back to that. 2 splits, no weighted seeds. It's going to be brutal. Your first open qualifier is everything. It gives you advantages for seeding later in the season. It makes so much stuff change. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see how these things move out and what things are going to look like. But it is going to be very difficult to tell. Either way, I'm very excited to watch how this all plays out. That's my tier list. Obviously, it's not perfect. Obviously, the numbers aren't exact. It's just my general idea of how I think they're going to perform overall. And I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to see some of these teams really come in and say, hey, this is actually the best team, a team we didn't even talk about. So we'll keep you guys up to date on these. Again, hopefully that tells you a majority of the roster changes that went down, where they came from, and how they came to be. That's going to do it for this video. It's been a long one. Appreciate you guys. As always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. We got a U tomorrow. Don't miss it.